Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So it is Thursday at about 10 o'clock in the morning and it's kind of cold. I'm expecting rain all weekend, so if I want to have a chance to get anything done, today's the last day this week that I'm really going to have an opportunity to do it before bad weather sets back in for about the next week. So I'm going to be taking you along with me as I get prepped and get some work done today. Alright, so as it stands, I'm gonna walk over and get my chainsaw. I'm trying to be really careful because it is very unstable over here. I'll turn the camera around here in just a second and show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, I still have a lot of wood and crap on the ground. I've made some real good progress. I wanted to finish up over here today, but I'm gonna take you over to the other side of the house in just a minute, and I'm actually gonna show you the other part of my yard and what I've been neglecting to do. Alright guys, so I'm over here on the other side of my house about to get started. Okay, it's a little bit better on the lighting. Didn't want anybody to not be able to see me. So you can see just behind me, I got a big old tree that I need to cut up. Let me get you guys a closer look at it. I don't like that angle. Alright, so now that we're up here, you can see that this tree's got some size to it. I got my work cut out for me this morning. I'm not going to be able to completely break it down because I've only got about an hour to get work in. But I figure some progress is better than none, right? Alright, well, that was a bust. Got about 5 minutes of sawing in. One of the nuts that secure my chain to the bar, that decided to disappear and my chain is now off. So it looks like I gotta run to the store. Not today, that's not gonna happen. But it looks like I gotta run to the store this weekend and buy a new bar. Not a new bar, a new nut for the bar. So that's a bust. So on top of all the weather going on, I tried to go outside the other day and get some yard work done, but I screwed up. I forgot to check the tension on my chainsaw, so my chain ended up slipping off, and that in and of itself isn't a huge deal. I wasn't injured or anything. But what actually ended up happening was one of the nuts that holds the plate on, that holds the bar on, that disappeared, so I'm waiting on a replacement to show up for that. A couple not so great things happened to me this week. So I found out I've got mice in here. Yeah. So apparently from this house sitting unoccupied for as long as it had, mice found a way to make their way inside. And so I'm currently working with Terminex right now to get that taken care of. I'm noticing less instances of them already, but that set me back $1,200. That is not good money to spend right now, especially with Christmas coming. Well, I didn't find a mouse in here. My dog got himself a mouse. And to be safe, I called Terminex to let them know what was going on, because if there's anything that I know about home ownership in just a month of doing it, is that you want to deal with things early so that they don't become a more expensive problem later. Now, what I didn't expect was it still cost me $1,200 to have them do that. Good news is I'm going to have them covering the place for about 2 years, so once we get rid of the mice, it shouldn't be such a big deal, but it's still a frustrating thing. You know, you move into a new house and you've got all these unexpected costs. Now, to be fair, I was told that I'm going to run into unexpected costs, but it still gets a little frustrating, you know, guys? Found a leak in my roof this week. That was definitely a 1-2 punch. The good news is that it looks like the leak was caused by my tree guys hitting the house with a tree. So they actually came out here and they patched that up. I haven't seen any instances of a leaking roof since, but I'm monitoring very closely just because I'm afraid of mold. So I'll let you guys know what happens in the weeks to come on that. I'm a few days without seeing any instances of leaking through the roof. I'm just waiting to get myself a ladder so I can hop up on the roof and check a couple places out. Then I actually have a story for you guys. So, what was it? It was almost a month ago now. I think just a couple weeks after I moved into the house. my water goes out one night. And so I don't know what prompted me to call because it was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when I noticed it. But I called my water servicer and I'm like, hey, did the water go out? Because I was concerned. The way I noticed it was I'm laying down in bed just reading. I'm usually up till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning anyway. So being awake at the time wasn't exactly that big of a deal. So I started hearing this gurgling come out of my toilet and I was like, that does not sound good. And the first thing that came to my mind was, I've been here for 2 weeks. Did I already burst the pipe? Like, I was in no mood for that. As if you burst the pipe, that can get expensive real fast to repair, even if you've got some kind of a homeowner's warranty, which I do. And so I'm outside at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning in shorts, house shoes, and a light hoodie with my cell phone flashlight, because I hadn't bought a flashlight at that point, looking around to see if I could see water rushing out from under my house or if I could hear water rushing under it. And I heard nothing. And I was like, well, that's awfully weird. And I'm sitting there like, they haven't sent me a water bill yet, so I know they didn't turn my water off. So I call up the water servicer and I go, hey, and the first thing out of my mouth was, wow, I didn't expect somebody to be in office at this hour. And the lady at the desk, she goes, yeah, we have a water outage for your county. And I'm like, oh, so is that why my water's not working? And she goes, well, yeah. And I breathed a sigh of relief because I'm sitting there stressed, like, man, I don't want to dump more money into having to repair stuff, especially not having to get water repairs. That's just insane. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, whoo, that saved me some money. So I asked her, I go, okay, well, when's water going to be back on? She goes, I don't know. So I hang up with her and I go to bed because at that point I'm like, well, there's nothing I can do, so might as well just go get some sleep. So they call me about noon the next day and they're like, hey, water's back on, but you're under a boiled water advisory. So with having never had to deal with a water outage, I was not familiar with a boiled water advisory at all. So I asked the lady at the desk, I'm going, well, what's a boiled water advisory? She goes, basically, you're just going to have to boil your water until we tell you otherwise. And I'm like, well, that's not going to be a very convenient thing. She goes, no, it's not convenient, but because some of the water in the system at this point has now been exposed to, dirt, things like that, it's, no longer treated water, you're going to want to boil your water to be safe. I was like, all right, I'll boil my water. So I go on a couple weeks, no big deal, either boiling my water or using water bottles. I prefer water bottles just because I've got gas appliances, so I really didn't want to have to use that extra gas if I could avoid it. So, I'm going along, minding my business, doing my thing, and Thanksgiving comes and goes, which is relevant to the story. And then 2 days ago, I'm like, we're rolling up on a month now where we've been on a boiled water advisory. Let me call these guys back real quick. So I call them up and she answers, it was the same lady too. She answers the phone, she goes, how can I help you? And I'm asking, are we still under a boiled water advisory? And she pauses. Like there's a noticeable pause, like she's wondering, is he for real? Because what had happened the month prior, or last month, they had said once we lift the boiled water advisory, we'll give you a call, let you know. So I'm sitting there on the phone with this lady in the water department, and she pauses, and she goes, we lifted the boiled water advisory just before Thanksgiving. Were you not notified? I was like, no, this is the first I've been hearing of it. I figured we've been getting to about a month. So I wasn't sure if the water advisory was lifted or not. She goes, yeah, you're good. You can go off the boiled water advisory. So I've been back at it. That was so weird. But, that is what it is. It happens. Next week, the weather looks like it's going to be relatively clear. Not so much on the warm side. But as it stands right now, next weekend, it'll be clear. So I'll be able to get outside and at least finish the side of the house that I usually park my car on. so that I can start working on some other things, because that shed's got a rotted out ramp, and I've got the wood on standby waiting to do it. I gotta clean that area up. The problem I'm running into right now is I didn't manage my burn pile well enough, so now I've got this massive burn pile that I'm now actually going to have to pull stuff off of so that I can effectively burn it without having to worry too hard about melting my siding from that distance. Because the amount of material I have on there at this point is a very, very large amount of material. Let's say about half the branches that came off that first tree are sitting in the main pile right now. So that's going to be fun. But in the meantime, guys, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, hit bell notification, and honestly, throw a comment down below if you've run into any of these issues before. It can be frustrating being a homeowner, but honestly, I'm still enjoying it. So until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.